Hello everybody and welcome to Cause and Effect, a show about Vetes. Today we are going to have our own personal AA meeting, or more to the point, our triple A meeting. We are going to talk about the triple A archetype. We're going to analyze three common variations of the deck and talk about the main cast, of course, which is Anson, Anek and Alexandra, as most of you probably know by now. But first, as always, I would like to introduce my two personal staccato girls, Isak Esbjörnsson Bjärmark and Adam Esbjörnsson. Hello!
Hello.
No. But then we're not allowed to speak, yeah? We should just wave.
Just dance and show boobs.
This is getting really awkward.
My own boobs or my boobs? Because I have at my disposal Gabriel Derietti in the library.
Well, we can take her up while we talk.
Okay.
That's a little... that's nasty. Let's not do that.
You were the one who brought it up. You should have to be able to bear the consequences of your own actions.
Okay.
You brought this on yourself.
I didn't really think this one through, so we'll come back to this next time. Whatever. We're moving past it. So, Adam, how was your Vetes week been?
It's been great. Well, if we include the last 2 weeks, since we didn't have a show last week, I was in Gothenburg play a tournament, which went kind of well, but I didn't manage to win. And I've had a few.
What did you play?
I played actually a AAA deck. Maybe it's just a small variation on one of the decks we'll bring up later on. So maybe if we have the time. Well,
so did you do any cool moves on the tournament?
Yeah, I burned a lot of vampires with Millicent Smith.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, it's not you burn them. They burned themselves.
Yeah, they brought
them on.
on
Yeah.
They brought this on themselves.
They knew what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah, they were dressed in an inappropriate way.
Yes.
You couldn't control yourself.
And if anyone is to blame, it's actually Millicent Smith.
Yeah.
Who couldn't control herself.
It's the society, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of neat. Isak, you were also at that tournament, I presume.
Yes, I was. I was. Yeah.
How did you do?
I won!
Yeah, because you're the best player in Europe.
Why, thank you.
No,
yeah.
we shouldn't say that.
No.
Ever again, I think.
No.
It's not good.
I could... My ego would be too big for this show then.
I kind of already is, but don't you think we should feed it even more?
I played more or less the same deck as I won the European Championships with. I just swapped the one card out that I knew didn't fit into the deck. So I removed one banishment and added another Silas Valley, which turned out to be great.
Well, cool. Congrats again, then.
Yes,
thank
and
you.
You're in the Hall of Fame now.
Yes!
That's big congrats as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks of European Championshipness without being in the Hall of Fame, which is kind of backwards. Anyways, now that's problems.
We're a backwards country. We do everything the other way around here.
Yes. We breed for 6 and only have 60 parts in the decks.
Okay, so did you play any other games in the tournament?
I had a casual game last week. Went really well. I won 2 tables. Table split the 3rd.
Oh.
I'm doing okay right now. I'll probably stop doing okay any moment now. And you, Anders, have you been playing for the last?
Yeah, we played a lot. We have a great game in Sundsvall where we play a lot. We play like 2 times a week, at least 3 games. So I've been playing a lot. I've been a little bit humbled in my game here. I started to get a little bit greedy and trying to do spectacular sweeps and outs, which cost me several games.
Are you trying to do that thing? No, you get to stay alive so that I can sweep later on. You trying to do that?
Yes. Like 4 different games. And
yeah, damn it, Anders. Beat this 101.
Yeah, but I've been trying to do some tricks. It hasn't really worked out. And I've been experimenting with the deck that you gave me, Adam, a block deck which features like 7 or 8 Smite Jack. haven't been able to draw a Smiling Jack at my start hand one single game that I played the deck though, so it's kind of a little bit shitty. But it's fun.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to start just playing block decks for the next half year and see what it brings me.
You should visit Örebro. Block decks are really, really bad right now.
I mean, like, it's bad because everybody plays
Combat,
like,
rush, and target vitals, and you're in torpor all the time. It's not
Okay.
worth it.
Well, well, thanks a lot then.
You should come down sometime.
Thanks for the heads up for the Boxing Week tournament.
Yeah.
I'll bring Fortitude.
We're like 5 people from Örebro. The tournament won't consist of Örebro meta.
Yeah. Anywho, we're playing a lot of ally decks as well. That's a lot of allies up here in Sundsvall. That's our meta.
I built a deck with this guy. I think that's my biggest accomplishment these 2 weeks. With Mateusz Krzyzewski, also called the Pig in Swedish.
Yeah, that's you, Adam.
Thank you. I actually feel like I reached a new level of deck building. Thanks.
Yeah, I would say that in my book, that's a little bit better than being the European champion and Hall of Fame guy, but
to be the Pig.
Well, if Isaac gets to talk about his biggest achievement, I can talk about mine. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, enough with the chit chat and bullshit. So we're going to talk about a really strong archetype that's been around for a long time, that is AAA. So what are your guys' experiences with the deck, Isaac?
I've faced it a lot because periodically Adam have been playing a lot of AAA. Like, I think 3 different periods, and now it's in his 3rd period of AAA game. So I'm very used to playing against it.
So what you're saying is that Adam is on his period?
One of my periods, my 3rd actually.
Yeah.
I'm a late bloomer.
Yes, okay.
Which is fitting because the background color of the TWD is red.
Yes, we have it all under control. Yeah.
Should I continue with Vitas or periods?
Yes, please. Vitas, let's do it.
Okay, and so I'm mostly used to playing against them, but I've done one iteration my of the AAA where I tried to build something with mind rapes and skill cards and grand balls, because something very tempting with playing unblockable superior mind rape.
Yeah.
There's something almost forbidden there that I want to try. I've tried it. Just doesn't work too well. It performs okay if you have a high cap meta, because you end up being cap 12 with Alexandra, and then you can start fucking like Lutz, those guys up, which is brilliant. But then when you get to mid cap like dominate meta, or if you get to any mid cap meta, you're screwed because the deck is so slow and there's a long combo that you need going and stuff like that. So it's wasn't too impressed. Though the more standard iterations of AAA is very difficult to face.
Yeah.
Have a lot really good staying power, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Alan.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like well, it's hard to say this is how AAA is, because you can do so many different things with them. But like one of the most diverse crypts, you can have the same crypt and do a lot of different decks with them, and they're very, very different, some of them, from each other. So it's hard to say it is resilient, but yeah, it can be extremely resilient.
Why is it that it's so resilient? Is it just the superior specs, or?
Well, master phase actions makes you be able to bloat, and bloating is like a all-purpose cushion for defense. It's not super efficient as a defense mechanism against anything in particular. It's not good against bleed, it's not good against bloat, it's not good against rush, but it's all-purpose. So bloating makes you able to survive a lot of different strategies, either by bringing out new guys or by just surviving a bit longer.
But also, since you have the access to deflection, you have the access to parity shift and some other shenanigans.
Yeah, of course. Parity shift is a big factor as well, as is just the fact that they actually have a lot of ousting power. They have presence, and also then have plus bleed, and so on and so forth. So you can play them in a lot of different ways, aggressively as well, and that gives them resilience, in a way. If I'm making any sense here?
Yeah. You said deflections, Isaac. Why would you play with deflections more than the Auspex cards?
Because the most important vampire in the crypt is Anson, and Anson lacks superior Auspex. So if you want to bounce, you need to play deflection rather than telepathing acceleration. In my opinion, at least. I've seen iterations where you mix the two. I guess that's because you want to block more, because then you can bounce with Alexandra or Neck or any other vampires with the pattern extraction. But if you also have second tradition to block something, you can get that extra intercept with Anson, which could prove vital for actually catching someone.
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this. All three of the AAA vampires have dominate.
Yeah.
And the third one, I'll bring up Anek as well. Anek. She's the third A.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our main cast for the AAA deck. I thought we would start about discussing them a little bit more, and we should talk about Alexandra and why is she a good vampire, Isaac?
She's in a circle which is ridiculously strong. You have the 4 worlds, which is basically strong. But also you have the capacity, which is strong. You're immune to a lot of, or not immune, but more or less immune to a lot of different shenanigans like mind rape banishments, etc., etc., etc. But the key here is the ability to let you multi-act. She can untap or tap another ready Toreador once each turn. Once each during your turns.
Yeah.
So which is really key, sorry.
How key is that multi-act?
Really key, I'd say, because if you look at all the things, the options you have available for you, the only one thing that lacks is actions. So if you can manage to get a lot of actions with AAA, you end up in a situation where you win, because every single action gets to be so ridiculously powerful. A bleed for 5 or 6, something like that, or in Alexandra's case it's 8, you have parry shift, you have banishments, all kind of shenanigans. So this extra untap is really vital to make.
Yeah, and it's
catch
also
up, basically.
Of course, good synergy with Toreador Gun Ball, which is...
Most of the cases ends up not being that useful, but it means that you can Grand Ball, say, use Anson and tap Anson and make Alexander Grand Ball and still get an action with Anson. But in my experience, when you do that, most of the times you have a weenie tapped, and you let it stays tapped for the entire duration of the Grand Ball. So you don't really neglect it in that way. You take one of the big caps and try to get an extraction.
Well, the guys that it's worth to untap to get extra actions with are also, they have a really valuable first action as well, so you don't want to tap them by Grand Balls anyway. Okay. It's better to take 2 actions with Anson and 0 actions with Dieter Kleist, for instance.
Yeah, so Adam, do you have anything more to add? I hear you quite badly, Isaac. Oh, sorry. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, not much. I think Isaac pretty much got it. Inner circles are powerful, as they are. Animalism, she has animalism. I've never seen it be used, but I guess Shepherd's Innocence might be a metagame choice. Well, it's an animalism action that makes you able to take control of all animalism retainers in play, or something like that. I just thought I'd touch on her animalism. Most of the time it's not used.
No.
In my experience, at least. But the other parts of her is plenty.
Yeah. And she is holding a rose, as you see, but at first glance I thought it was an ice cream.
Well, you know, it's just a painting. It might be ice cream.
It might be. Okay. Might be a rose-shaped ice cream. We'll never know for sure.
Shaped rose?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, our next...
You guys are not making sense.
Our next contender is maybe the most commonly... what's it called?
Seen?
Anson, anyway. Seen and contested vampire, I would say. Anson, so... Adam, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess if you just like choose which traits are extremely good, you have all of them of Anson, and he's cap 8. He's a pretty good vampire. He's prince, so he can play all the good prince cards. Extra boss phase action, so he gets to well, play monster cards, which is extremely powerful if you follow the tournament winning deck archive recently. And the disciplines are, well, presence, celerity, Auspex, dominate. Auspex and dominate are extremely powerful as well. Only inferior Auspex, so that's like the only drawback. If there was one drawback, something that was bad with Anson, he only has inferior Auspex. But they
would you personally prefer superior Auspex or a superior dominate?
For Anson?
Yeah.
I guess superior dominate. I think he has better friends with superior dominate. You could play him with the Brewers, dominate Brewers from group 1 2.
Oh, that would be so sweet.
That would be extremely sweet, actually.
But it's really ridiculous also that he's an 8 cap, which is... hopefully Viken will never ever produce vampires this strong again. Because all this for 8 pool is ridiculous, and especially considering Silas Valley, which means it's not uncommon to see first turn Anson.
No.
Which is so ridiculous.
Most AAA decks should have, because of Anson, an extreme overweight of Silas Valley for the crypt acceleration.
Yeah.
So it should more or less be a 40% chance, that is if you're situated at position 4 or 5, that's 40%. 40% chance of getting Anson on the first turn. That should be the goal, because that's so powerful to start playing extra master phase actions from round 2.
So you mean that it might actually be worth just completely skipping information highway in favor of Silas Valley, just because of that. It does make sense, actually does. And then you are in no chance whatsoever of contesting information highway, which in Sweden, anyways, happens so much.
Every single game?
Yeah, but it happens every single game, but it doesn't. It only matters a few of those games. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, you don't. Yeah, of course.
The first few turns is the important thing, and if you contested mid game, is like, okay, you can have it.
So, yeah, anything to add, Isak?
No, maybe this. Since he has both superior celerity and superior presence, means that you can go both ways with him. You can both go the bleed both way, or you can go the combat way, which makes him very popular. I think it's one of the main reasons that you really can go. And Prince Titan means you can both go super aggressive, and you can go at least block-ish. If he had superior aspect, that would be ridiculous.
Well, something that, with the fact that he's both bleed or combat, actually makes him, I think that's, in a way, kind of good, because contesting Anson is a extremely real possibility. That's like, you can't build a deck that relies on Anson and then expect to keep him. It's just, you can't do that. He's too common. So he's one of the vampires that contestation actually is a extremely real possibility. A lot of other cases, it's just like, okay, I randomly got someone that had the same guy. But Anson, you're gonna see him, more or less.
Yeah, it's a real possibility. Is there anything that you can do against it?
Bring him up first and villain him so that the other player can't afford contest. I think that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
I've seen cases where the bleed version of the deck put Anson into play, and then the non-bleed version, the combat version, put up the sidekicks first, rushes Anson to torpor, Diablerise, and then bring out their own Anson.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. But is there any situation when you have another Anson on the table and it's not worth contesting him?
That's so many factors weighing in.
Too much.
So if you both are playing AAA decks, I think you need to come to some sort of agreement. So okay, I get Anson, you get Alexandra, which sidekicks do you have? And try to make the best of the situation, but it more or less means that those two decks would probably lose. Because as we talked about earlier, the amount of actions they lose. And both of them will be playing a game where they try to get the other player ousted so they get all three of the vampires.
Yeah.
Rather than 1.5 each.
Okay, so maybe quick before we leave Anson, how good is he compared to other minions which has multiple masterpiece actions, Isaac?
It so depends on the situation, but he's obviously stronger than Salvayan and Huzio Portugal, I'd say, because those Masterface action cards and Serem Pentient or whatever that set tight, which is really ballsy, is named. But
it's the one which you get Masterface by playing a Master of Turn.
No, that's Xenosis. He's kind of cute. I was talking to one if you have the edge doing a Masterface action, blah blah blah. He doesn't matter. but compared to Cybele and Anabaruko, they're more or less equivalent. I'd say Anson is better than Anabaruko because his disciplines and his clan and paired shift and stuff like that is better. But Cybele is so strong because she's got Obfuscate, Serpentis, or Shugat, some sort of multi-act going on. So I'd say Anson is better than the three of them, but only ever so slightly, because the other ones are really strong as well.
He has a unique part of him from the other Masterface action vampires is that he's actually titled.
Yeah.
So if you want to do a master deck with votes, it's gonna be Anson. Your choice is gonna be Anson, since the other ones don't have. More or less.
More or less.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. And here we have a little surprise. Francois Villon is our third main cast of the AAA. That's really nerdy humor. Hold on. Well, why are we bringing up him before Anek?
Because he's better. It's a short answer.
Okay, so why is he better?
Well, he doesn't have the dominate, so that's like not so much in favor of him. But his action is extremely powerful, and I think that's mainly because of Alexandra's special. With Francois and Alexandra, you have like certain use for your extraction, and stealing 2 blood it's good for you since you have villain most of the time. You can use the blood for something, but most importantly it's to remove blood from bouncers or potential delaying tactics. You can remove blood to get your own actions through.
Okay.
And he has the same plus bleed as Anneke, and he can play the same Prince and Justicard cards as Anneke.
Yeah. So, anything to add, Isaac?
No, he's kind of cute that he's got chemistry. I've seen some stuff with like Nightmare Curse and the whole AAA thing in Francois, which is it's kind of decent because the base is AAA, but it's more cute than it's good.
So he's
That's
a cute
everything
guy.
I've got for you. Go on.
Yeah, and last and not least, ever annoying Anek. Hate having her on the table.
It's actually annoying. That's the right word for it.
Yeah, that is really annoying. Just, she's of course really good. She's a Justicar. She has plus bleed. The ability to block whatever she wants to do is ridiculously good and ridiculously annoying. Just put a ball of convergence on her and then just fuck the table up.
Just stay untapped and say block for everything. Block, block,
Yes.
block, 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 block.
I don't have anything more to add about her.
The thing is why she's worse off is most people are just like, that special is so broken, it's one of the strongest in the game. Yeah, agree, it is. But it doesn't really fit that well into a AAA deck. When you start building it, you end up with a deck list that is very acting, and you do actions, and that's what you do, and you survive by bloating and bouncing, more or less. That's your strategy, and her special doesn't fit that good into that strategy.
Well, since she's vampire number 3, you can't like, okay, I'm gonna include 10 reaction cards just because I have Annika.
Yeah.
You need to have a deck that's good for Anson and Alexandra primarily, and then Annika will be the bonus you get if your deck is going well.
Okay, but I have something more to say about it. I mean, okay, it's okay. It's a really good special, but I mean, she's a 10 that's going to try and block things. Big guys blocking, as we usually say, is not that good. A fat block deck, and I mean, with Eagle Sight, it's just so much better. If you're a good player, you will play with Eagle Sight, and you're only going to be able to block the really actions that are really powerful, or just those actions that you really have to block. And a good player should have Eagle Sight for those occasions when it's really key to block. So I just think that she's good, of course, but she's not like really super good. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think we need to
talk to her within the context of AAA.
Yeah, of course. Because there are Annika decks, which are extremely powerful and good block decks, which could include Alexandra and could include Anson, but those decks are Annika decks. So you need to keep that in mind. We're talking about a AAA deck, and in a AAA deck, Annika is going to be vampire number 3.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the key points. She, in my opinion, she's, as Adam stated, the one that you get, and you get the extra edge against your opponent because you're in a strong position already and you make yourself stronger. But also, she is the solution for a bolt lock. Most cases, you do fine with Alexandra and Anson, those 6 votes plus the vote card at 7 plus the edge that's 8. And maybe some sort of push at Scalpel's Tang or Perfect Paragon or whatnot. But this is when you're really badly vote locked, when the face is in a circle decks or some such. You bring her out, and then you have a permanent amount of 9 votes on the table, which is really strong.
Do you take her out before you take out the weenie, or is it?
You want the weenie. You only want if you want Grand Ball, and you only want the Grand Ball if you're going to be blocked.
Okay.
And then you need the Grand Ball kind of desperately as soon as possible. So it really depends on the situation, I'd say. I don't know your experience with it, Adam.
Well, if Grand Ball is powerful enough that you need them and you need to play them, you're probably not gonna. They're probably gonna be removed until your next turn. So it's not like it's a permanent problem. You play the Grand Ball and you get to tap one of your guys, and the other one gets to be unblockable for 1 turn, and then it's gonna be removed sometime during the. That's my experience. So, sure, sometimes you gotta tap Annika, and it's gonna be a cost that you only need to pay that single round, most of the time, since people will want to remove the Grand Balls. Of course, you need to accept the possibility that they might not remove it, in which case you might need to use Alexandra's special for Annika throughout the entire game. But it's fine, and if it's not fine, you can remove the Grand Ball yourself.
Yeah, you can remove it yourself, of course. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything more to say about these vampires.
Yeah, I think we glossed over or never talked about the biggest advantage of Annika, and that's Temptation of Greater Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's a card that requires it requires a Justicar, and you can take control or bid for control of another Methuselah's vampire.
It's a really unfair card.
It's extremely powerful. A lot of the time, playing this card, if you have the highest amount of pool on the table, gives you a victory point or 2.
Yeah. Again, something annoying about the neck.
Yes.
That's just cards in general.
Your mic is not close to your mouth anymore, Isaac.
I just want to state that I end up removing Great Temptation and Greater Power and Anak from my decks. Temptation and Greater Power goes first because she's the 3rd minion. So you just draw the Temptation of Greater Power, you hold on to it, or then it's like you have a hand size of 6 and you never get Anak out, or you discard it, and then there are other priorities when recursioning with Anthelios that's more important or more usable or blah blah.
I think the biggest problem is that Temptation of Greater Power is the most powerful when you have a lot of pool.
Yeah.
That's when you can like, okay, I'm getting this vampire. And if you brought Annika up as the 3rd vampire, you're probably not going to have that much pool.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're not certain to have the most pool. And if you have the most, it's not going to be by much.
Yeah.
So it's a bit risky to play Temptation of Greater Power of the 3 vampires. It's a lot more safe to play it of the 2 vampires.
Yeah, and of course. And in that case, it gets so situational. Like when you're able to play it or not. So rather, you won't be able to play it so much.
But that could be one of the ways to solve the contest issue we talked about earlier. If you do play it under Generation Power and Anak, you can actually just buy Ansem off the guy with Ansem.
That's a good point.
That's very neat.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if they have Ansem, they have more monster face action. That means they have more monster cards played. That probably means they have a lot of pool.
Yeah.
So.
We have to just bring up Anek, take away all her pool with lane, and play Temptation of Greater Power.
Yes. And then you have Ansem, and then victory ensures.
Yes.
2 paired shifts, and you're back in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. We are going to talk about the first deck, and then we're going to have a little break. But first, the first deck, which is like the 0.10 classic version of the AAA. Adam, would you like to bring us in?
Yes, sure. We're looking here at Pierre Tarman's winning deck from the last chance qualifier this year at the EC. Well, as Anders says, I think this is like the first stepping stone of the evolution of the AAA. I think this is somewhere where it started to become powerful and its origin, so to say.
Okay.
It's a Grand Ball heavy, 7 Grand Balls, and political action heavy deck. 18 political cards. So it relies a lot on being unblockable when voting.
Yeah.
Which is kind of powerful.
So, but I have the classic crypt with just 3 of each.
Yeah.
Is there any reasoning why you won't have 4 Ansem, or is it just everyone is equal?
Maybe Pierre likes symmetry. I don't know. I think probably 4 Ansem and 2 Annika is stronger, but 3 Annika, I think you're gonna have 65% chance of getting him in the start crypt.
Yeah.
Which is too low in my opinion.
It's low, but you're more likely to get him than to not get him. So most games you're gonna get Ansem with 3. So it might feel fine a lot of the time to have only 3. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm fine with the choice. I would never play 3, but I'm fine with the choice as it is. If someone else wants to try play 3, sure, do it, but you're not going to draw him nearly enough that the deck will function as if... Well, you need to build a deck so that you cannot draw Anson.
Yeah.
34 master cards in 90 is kind of low for a master deck. So maybe it's fine. Maybe it's built to not draw him sometimes, or draw him late sometimes.
But it's not ridiculously low as we will see further into the show. It's low, but it's not like, whoa, that's low.
You're a wordsmith, Dad.
You have a way with words.
Wordsmith.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, when we look at the master package, as we talked about, you see 7 Toreador Grand Ball. As you said, it relies heavily on the Grand Ball. Why? You said.
Because it's a political action heavy deck. You need to be unblockable. And I think if you do this much Toreador Grand Ball, you expect a lot of block, and especially a slight block, because since this is a well-known fact that the Toreadors really do suck balls when it comes to stealthing. So just like 1 second edition could be the loss of your game, and I think that Pierre really don't want to lose his game. So
Well, it's good for him that he included Toreador Grand Ball, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason you really need it, because you expect slight block, and if you play the LCQ, I think this is a wise choice. You can see the most weird block cards, like, oh, or absorption inferior, instant for me, you're blocked. And that can actually save your game, if you're getting paired shift of your Bombardier. In this case, it doesn't.
And this deck does not, like, it's not like a law firm where it's fine to be blocked. You can just Majesty and bleed for lots, because this deck is not, it's not like that bleedy. It is a vote deck. It needs to get its vote cards through to do any damage, any real damage.
The Oasting mechanics, as I have written here in my notes, are, as you say, the political action. So it won't matter that much. They don't try to bleed anything, or
2 entrancements.
And 2 rare revelation.
And 2 rare revelations.
Yeah.
What? So the entrancements are, I guess, if he wanted to bleed with them, maybe there should be intimidations or public trust as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's mostly for the allies deal. But 2 rare revelation, it's a powerful card for Toreadors, so it's nice to include them.
Yeah.
But just reading the deck list, it's not a bleed deck.
Yeah. But you do have a lot of actions though, because you have the 8 Majesties and you have Alexandra, so you have more actions probably than you need, because you will do a political action and then on tap.
But you probably won't be blocked because you have Toreador and Ball.
Yeah.
I think the biggest action thief, if you want to call it that, is the parity shifts. You can't play a lot of parity shifts, especially not with Villain and well, master cards and lots of other bloat, say boat captivations and stuff.
Yeah, that's a little counterintuitive to have 7 parity shift and a lot of...
Well, I think parity shift is mostly a staying alive mechanic. You need to have the parity shift from the start if you have a bleedy predator. Okay. So having 7 of them could be just to make sure that you can play 1.
Is that he also plays the really few reaction cards, just 3 deflections in the deck? 90 cards.
Yeah. Parity shift is a good card.
But another reason I think is this is a 90 card deck, and 7 parity shifts a 90 card deck. That's not a lot. It's not in 90 cards. It's not very probable that you get a lot of them in the beginning. So this is probably just 1 for the start, parity shift, and 1 parity shift for each time you bring a new vampire into play. So you go really low when you bring Alexandra into play. You try to get that pull back with a well-timed parity shift. Then you bring an Ekka into play, and then you're really low, and then you play a well-timed parity shift. But also the staying alive stuff that Adam talked about.
Yeah. You see here there's 2 equipment cards as well. The Sargon Fragment, which is a really nice card. Hold on. Talk a little bit about the Sargon Fragment. Why is it in this deck?
Sargon, I'm gonna bring it up first. I think Sargon Fragment is the biggest reason why Alexandra is powerful. So, it's the biggest reason why Alexandra is powerful, because recursion is kind of strong, as we've seen the latest years, and Sargon Fragment is like an on-demand. With Grand Ball, it's unblockable, and with Alexandra, you can use the card with the same. Well, you get an action, so you can just bring out whatever you need. Say there's one banishment in the deck, that could, if you need in a game, be 5 or 8 banishments.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I played AAA decks, I have cycled banishments for like 4 or 5 rounds in a row, and yeah, it's extremely powerful. And of course there are other cards. Say you said something about low amount of reaction cards. Yeah, with Sargon Fragment you can get more of them if you need.
Yeah, but it's just ridiculously powerful to be able to do, because you, as you said, you'll do the Sargon Fragment actions unblockable, and then you will do the vote unblockable as well, because that Toreador can't be blocked. That's for shit, and just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, so it's brilliant.
So that's a must in a AAA deck, or
when it's Grand Ball, it's a must. Since the action to get the card is non-stealth, you can't play it without Grand Ball in the Toreador deck, because as Isaac said, Toreadors have really low amounts of stealth.
Okay.
But with Grand Ball, a Grand Ball deck, yes, I think Sargon Fragment is a given addition. Yeah. Maybe not a lot of them, but at least one.
There's also a Flaming Candle, which I personally haven't seen in play ever, which is kind of cool. Isaac?
Yeah, it's just one can only be played, and one can only be equipped. You burn a blood and you burn it to get an action to be unblockable as announced, which is brilliant if you want to bleed unblockable. You have all this other stuff to do unblockable because of the Grand Ball, but bleed is the one thing that you're not unblockable when you do. And with this, you can take Alexandra. She equips that stuff with Sargon Fragment, which is unblockable. She doesn't have that stuff. Next turn, she bleeds and transmit air relation. That's a bleed for 7. Unblockable. You praise die. It's awesome. And you have the approximation of loyalty as well, so you couldn't avoid a potential bounce. So it's one of those like small tricks you can use. But maybe you want to say the thing about the concoction.
Yeah, sure. There's another option for if you want unblockable equipment. Concoction of Vitality.
How do you spell that?
CONCOCT.
I was kidding.
Huh?
Go on.
Yeah, it's not played once.
Could you bring it up, maybe?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. It's not once per game. You can play it several times. You can play it several times, but it's only vampires who can't block it.
It's the same with the Flaming Candle. That's only vampires who are unable to.
But you burned it. I just get on the top of my head. I'm thinking about Gerald Winham. Gerald Winham deck that can play this equipment. It would be cool.
Oh yeah, this has the drawback of not being able to play discipline cards until the action is complete.
Ah, yeah, of course.
So that's disadvantages as well. So that's like a choice that you can make. Either you get to play Air Revelation, or you get to use it several times.
But the action card, can that have a discipline, or is it just reaction?
You have to play the action card first, and then you have to announce with this afterwards. You can bleed with a discipline bleed action, but you cannot modify or use approximation of loyalty, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. So that's definitely an option then.
Or you can play both, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit too card heavy.
Okay, but why? I mean, of course it's a good addition, but you already have a lot of. You can't block me stuff. So why have the addition here?
Because you can bleed with that card, and you can't bleed with the other stuff.
If you don't have Vote Lock as well, it's good to It's like a card that can solve a situation where you don't have vote lock, but you're, say you're in the duel with someone and you can't vote them to death, and you can't bleed them because you don't have any stealth. You can still kill them with Flaming Candle.
Okay.
So.
Why isn't it played more?
Which Flaming Candle?
Yeah.
It's only in this deck, and it's only for this specific situation that I described now. It's not a lot of situation that needs it, and it's only this deck, and it's very corner case. It's like a neat card. I like his reasoning, adding it, but probably a lot of games it would have been fine without it as well.
Okay. So just a little bit quick then. How's the strategic? How do you play the deck?
The way I've seen this deck be played, both by, well, I haven't seen Pierre play too much, but I've seen Cabosseni as well, who's a French player as well, has a similar kind of deck. Both of them play it kind of slow and kind of snipe VP-ish. Like, maybe stay alive, build aim for a bit, do some political actions, make some deal that you can vote the cap, and then just like sit around, build up for a bit, and then suddenly Anarchist Uprising.
I don't know why Anarchist Uprising appears.
Yeah, and that's unblockable, and you follow it up with some other votes that do damage to everyone, and then you just kind of get the table together in the last 2 turns, get your game win really, really fast and out of the blue.
Okay, and then you can see that in the deck design actually, because there are 2 Anarchist Uprising and 2 Ancient Empowerment, so you can just start gathering those on your hand, and when the crops is ripe, you just like take it.
But it's really a deck that requires timing.
Maybe not requires, but I think it's built that way. And I think this comes back to how we talked about it's only 3 Anson.
Yeah.
If you play it slow, it's fine to just turn up Annika or Alexandra, bloat for a bit, and then turn up Anson eventually.
Yes.
If you're not rushing into anything, you don't need to have Anson at the start 4. You can get Anson eventually. Sure, some games you don't have the luxury of waiting, and those games is probably going to be harder with this deck than with other decks. But I think this deck is mostly played kind of slowly and passively, waiting for a good opportunity to get the game win.
Do you have anything to like do if you're every deck of course has some trouble with being the predator, being the prey of like a heavy bleed deck in the beginning. Does this deck actually survive that?
7 paired chips. As long as either you're friends with someone or you have vote lock, you should be able to survive it. Yeah. It's 5 pool per action. It should be fine.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. Should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yes,
we can do that.
This is a 90 card deck. It
I thought
really does.
About Asher tablets, but okay. Go ahead.
Uh-huh. No,
I thought we were talking about that we should have a break soon.
Okay. We can talk about Isaac's elephant first.
Okay. Then can we bring up the other elephants. It's really not necessary to have this deck in 90 cards, especially since this is the more or less vanilla version of AAA, where you don't have a lot of extra stuff. You don't have a lot of special, so you can easily get this down to 65 cards, and you will make it perform so much better in those amounts. In my opinion, there are a lot of cards here that just baffles me. Like 6 vote caps is so much. Bewitching Oration, really surprising. Society Hunting Ground, really surprising.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's one thing that could be improved with this deck. If you get us down to 65 cards, so somewhere in that area.
65?
Yes. I played AAA with like Mind Rape module in 65 cards, so it's really not an issue to get that low. It's get more of an issue if you want to use the other elephant, more known as Azure Tablet. Then it gets more difficult to get down to 65 cards.
On.
Your
Yeah.
elephant?
My elephant? Well,
Please. Elephant Man, speak.
I think. Well, I think this kind of ties in with what Isaac is talking about. Actually, I think you can play a lot better, a lot more slimmed kind of deck if you include Azure Tablets. It could be if it's under 70 cards and you include 6 Azure Tablets, you have the same deck size or effective deck size, but you will draw better and you will survive better. You will do more damage and play faster.
Yeah.
So. If you want it this fat, this 90 cards, I think playing with Azure Tablets is a lot better. But I think Azure Tablets is kind of why this would be good in a deck like this, and why it's popular with these decks is that slow play I talked about, I think. So I think it would be really, really beneficial in this kind of deck to have Azure Tablets, because it'll make you be able to go for the long haul if you want. Some other kind of decks that want to be really, really fast, sure, I can see you don't want to play Azure Tablets, but in this deck, maybe there should be room for it. I don't know.
But there are arguments against Azure Tablets and...
Of course, 6 Master Phase actions for increasing your deck size to a deck size that you can actually get without 6 Master Phase actions. You can get the same amount, the same size library, but with 6 less Master Phase actions. So of course there are arguments against it.
Yeah. In my opinion, experience is just that you don't need that recursion. You can do without, and you use those Master Phase action, as you said, for something that have a more direct effect. That is, now I gain this bonus right now, and all the recursion you need, in my experience, is in Sorghum Fragment.
Yeah.
And you can go 2 Sorghum Fragments instead of 6 Azure Tablets, for instance, and then you're really on the safe side.
Yeah. That seems... I'm more prone to going that way, I would say. Anywho. Yeah, so... well, my elephant is that we're going to have a break. So we'll see you in part 2 of this episode of Cause and Effect, the show about theater.